Welcome to Guitar Talk. My name is Ken Unack. I'm here with Walt Barlow and Mark Armstrong. And today we're going to talk about styles. We're going to start with the style of Lightnin Hopkins, which we'll probably spend the whole show on. And we're going to see if we can get some of these licks down, some of the signature licks. Fortunately with Lightnin, he has a lot of signature licks. So there's a lot of ways to lift these licks and put them into what you play and get the essence of his style. So a little background before I play something. I'll play a couple little 12-bar things, and then Mark's going to play, and we'll analyze what we played, and there'll be Lightnin licks in there. But Lightnin was born in 1912, actually. And the neat thing about him is when he was 8 years old, he got to play with Blind Lemon Jefferson. He actually backed up Blind Lemon Jefferson. And he was one of the only people that Blind Lemon would ever let play with him. So he had a long career. I think he passed away in 1982, I think. So he was about 70 years old. But his career, he went from obviously just acoustic guitar, became electrified. He was part of the blues revival in the 60s. And after that, he got really electric. And I like his early stuff, and that's the stuff we're going to be really looking at, not so much his electric stuff. So he had certain characteristics of his playing. And one in particular I'll mention before I play, because I'm going to try to keep it into a 12-bar format. But he didn't pay attention to 12 bars. He changed whenever he wanted to change or felt like changing. And of course, it's always seamless with him, seamless. So let me play a little something here to get started, if I can. My fingers are shaky today. Now I'm going to stop there and point a couple of things out. He had this shuffle kind of rhythm that he always had on the bottom going on. Played monotonic bass, mostly in the keys of E and A. And this first thing I played, this is his characteristic lick. It's in many of his songs. And he does it in E, he does it in A, and he does it over and over again. It's sort of standard, and he has variations on it. He'll play it up here. And he'll add this shuffle in that has a unique little signature. Instead of a standard shuffle like this, which you would expect, he plays it like this. And so forth. One last thing before I let Mark play a little bit here. In his turnarounds, we have the standard turnaround we normally play, and variations of it with this walk-up. And Lightnin doesn't do the walk-up usually. He avoids it. He puts a B7 chord there. He plays with his thumb and his first finger, and He usually uses a finger pick. So what he does is comes down with this turnaround, which is his normal lick here that he plays, but he adds the first string. So you get all three strings with the E, open E, always sounding. So when you come down, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and that's how he does the turnaround, usually.
That's one of them, yeah, exactly, yeah.
He'll bang on that B, or he'll do a chordal turnaround. When he gets there, he'll simply E to A, to E to B7, and then he's back into something. And he'll play around with his lick like that. These are all the notes that are coming from this lick. So there's several little areas to look at here. He has a slow blues style also. He likes to play up here. He likes this note E right there. And he'll bend the fourth. He'll use this. And what I did just there is another little lightning thing. Instead of walking down to the A, he'll many times just hit the B right before the A, and we're in. So we'll look at all these individually in a minute. Now, Mark's going to play some more of his style.
So this is an extension on what Ken was talking about with the bass, with the monotonic bass, because this one is a little more rhythmic. So what he's doing here is that rhythm pattern that you play with this, he's doing just with the single note. Okay.
Yeah, that
was pretty
classic
pretty nice.
Lightnin.
Okay, so now, I wanted to show something with Walt here, because I think that I can actually show you a very simple way to start doing this that you don't have to think about. That you can just play.
I gotta think about everything.
No, you won't have to think about this, all right?
Go ahead.
So one of the things he does, which I think is really cool, is he takes this C shape,
Right.
the C7 chord, and moves it up to E, which is between the 5th and the 7th fret.
Right.
And he doesn't even really think of it as a 7th chord, he just thinks of it as like the C chord that he's playing up here, and then you can, little pinky tricks, all those little pinky tricks you do with the, you know. So one thing he does is he does this thing where he goes, so he's just playing, no, don't even worry about the thumb now, I'm going to show you that. So
Oh, he goes all right.
yeah, so it's, now you can either use one finger or two fingers, but here's the gimmick. Every time you play the top string, you pinch. Every time you play the B string, don't pinch. So you get, so every time, so it's two pinches with the outside string, and then play the B string. So it's, so when I say pinch, hit those together.
Yeah.
And then just that by itself. Yeah, there you go. That's it. And then just start listening for the bum 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 ba dum bum bum, and then try in your ear, in your mind, separate that. Hear the bass going bum ba dum bum, and then hear the top thing. And then start doing little gimmicks where you pick this pinky up, put it in, play the open E string. And then what I started doing when I started to realize this is I started just doing triplets in different ways, you know. And it's actually easier when you keep the triplets constantly going on top,
Right.
and you don't have to think. It's just like you got da 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 da, and it's a lot easier to hear the bass under the triplet field. And when you start to phrase it, it gets harder. You know, so even if you start doing the pentatonic, which is one thing he does, you know. And you're keeping that still that bump going on the bass, and it's you know it's a fascinating thing because it really teaches you how to divide your mind up and how to hear two parts simultaneously, and then also kind of take a step back so that you can hear that it's working without you can't control it because you can't think fast enough to control it. You can't go I gotta remember to put this bass note in every time, you know. So it's got to become a feel. It's got to become just a groove and just a way that you're just playing and relaxed.
So it goes back all the way back to just about the first show.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Ken said you work on your bass note. Well, you worked on it for...
Yeah, for
Yeah.
a long time. And that, particularly, this is as Mark said, it's classic Lightnin.
Yep.
Sliding that C chord up to here.
Yep.
And once you've got that down, now I do it with, Lightnin does it with just his thumb.
Right.
And one finger.
That's what I mean,
So-
that's me.
So you were doing that with I didn't.
me.
Yeah,
This
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
can see.
I mean, that's not that crazy. It's just, that's what it is.
So I think what once you get that,
Yep.
one of the next steps is that next slide up to here.
Right.
And you have to work on this, like isolate it from everything. You know, I think actually, I started to write that one down, or part of it.
Yeah.
Here. I don't know if I have the timing right. I got the first 4 bars of it, but I write these things down, so they're always there. I mean, I might not play it for 2 months, and then how do you do that Lightnin thing again? And I've got it. But by isolating it, because you can learn the tunes, you can learn a tune he uses it in, and that's all well and good. But the real idea, I think, if you really want to play acoustic blues, is develop your own style.
Right.
So, and I'm convinced of that primarily because all the bluesmen have their own style. They don't sound alike. You can
Right.
tell the difference between them. Even though they stole each other's licks and lyrics and everything, they played it their own way.
Right.
So you have to do the same thing. Once you can get this thing down for 4 bars, I mean for 1 bar or 2 bars, you've got to make the switch here and count it in your head so that you can get triple, that's triple. Now you can go somewhere else.
So
But you've got to do that over and over
easy-
again, counting.
You find it easier isolating these things and
Isolating them and then putting them back together.
right.
You know, for instance, his little ways he connects, say, an E chord to an A. He'll do this. So now you can be practicing a tune he does that in. And then every time you play the tune, you get to play that. Or you can sit there and isolate it and play it for 20 minutes so you have it, so that you can, you know, maybe when you're here, and just put it in. One more. So you have to know where does it come? Well, it comes on 4, 2 and 3 and triple 1, triple. So you have to count these things. Which is another run that Lightnin uses that I threw in after that other A chord. It was an A run, but I connected the two. And I connected them because I practiced connecting them. When
Yeah.
you know, I don't think when you sit and improvise, or if you're improvising and when you're playing with someone else, you're really not improvising. You're playing things you know how to connect, and you might connect them in different ways, but you're not coming up with anything that you haven't practiced before, really. You know, would you agree with that?
Well, yes and
Sort
no.
of? Yes
Yes
and
and
no?
no, because there is such thing as true improvisation.
Okay,
But true
yeah, I'm not saying there
improvisation
isn't,
is a lot of work, because true improvisation is you're trying to do something you've never done before.
Right.
It can happen, but you've got to really fight all your instincts. It can happen. It can be done. I do it. You know, at a friend's house. We do it like once a month. We do stuff, and we do crazy things at times, and but you know. But you sit there and you go, what I always look at is if you did something that you would not have done had you not been playing with someone else, then that's true improvisation, right? That you put something together in a way that it had never been done before by you. You never would have thought of doing it that way.
Well, a lot of times, like when you sit down with people like that, you just do what you've always done, and you just piece things together. And
Right, but like I said, not the session I'm at.
Right.
We just go in and we play for an hour, and we don't talk about what we're playing. We don't play any songs. We just play. We play theory.
you stand with your backs to each other.
No, we wear dark sunglasses.
And blue socks?
Yeah, we do the Miles thing, yes.
Like poker players.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you want to put Lightnin
anyway.
style together,
Yeah.
you have to go and find all his licks.
But I agree with what you were saying about practicing and isolating. That's how you learn is you isolate, and then you use a tune to maintain it. You know, once you can do it, then
Exactly.
you don't need to practice it quite so much. But initially, yeah, you should isolate it.
But you really have to put a lot of time. Ken and I were sitting down prior to the show, and we were, he was going through some of this stuff with me. And I mean, it's easy to sit there and do that one little thing. And
Right.
Now you got to connect all these things together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which, not being a blues guy, I mean, this is, like I've said it before, this is like an education for me.
Sure. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I hope you
Oh,
have
yeah,
fun.
it's totally fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I sit around, this is on this list, the way he connects things. He's got 3 things that I can point out. The first one I just did with the E chord, or 1 chord going to the 4. He's got that E. It's just an open D, slide up, and then hit the A. And it always happens on the 4th beat, it's a triplet. So he's got another one that he'll do. We all know this walk up here. Okay, well, he cuts it short. He'll play 2 and 3 and 4. Just the last 2 notes of it.
Okay.
And if you put all 3 to walk up, it's not Lightnin.
Okay.
But it's Lightnin if you 1, 2, and 3, and 1 and 2, and 3, and up 1 and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So it's, again, it's on 4 again. Goes 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And he won't do that first note. Another thing he does that's characteristic Lightnin is if you play in an E, gonna go to an A chord, he'll just hit the B note. A lot of times when we're playing all these blues like this, we walk down like that. You don't hear Lightnin walk down a lot like that. He'll get to that point, 2 to 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and just a B. And when he gets to the A, to get an A Lightnin sound, all you have to do is lift your finger up off the A7 and let that F sharp, it's like an A6.
Yeah.
And that's Lightnin if you fool around with that.
Okay.
So when you start to put them all together, and you've got Lightnin.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, to put in to add into a tune. There's some other things. I've written a lot of stuff down that he does. Let's see.
Is there any way for us to post this so that people can look at this?
Well, it's all written. There's no tablature here.
No, well, it's okay. I mean, it's what it is, you know. I mean, people still can utilize it.
Well, I could clean it up a bit, and maybe we could figure out over the week how to post
You have
these
nice
things.
penmanship.
Yeah.
You have a nice
You know,
handwriting.
I think we should talk about this.
Yes.
His style is characterized as like Texas blues or East Texas blues.
Okay. Okay.
And it's a lot different than Delta blues. You know, the Delta bluesmen, you're thinking more open tunings, slide guitar, a lot of slide.
Right, okay.
And then you have the hill country down in the Delta. Well, it's the hills, not the Delta actually, but it's Mississippi. And that's with like R.L. Burnside.
Okay.
It's a whole other style. I can't even touch that style, but he has this way of playing it. It's a rhythmic kind of thing. I fooled around with it, but I haven't got it. And then when you move further east or north, I guess it would be, you get the Piedmont style. And you get more the alternating bass style. And Blind Blake, guys like Blind Blake. And then, of course, if we throw in John Hurt, who's Mississippi, he's his own style.
Right.
He grew up isolated and played isolated all his life. So he doesn't sound like anybody else at all, completely. Yeah. But this style of Lightnin's is considered to be Texas blues. Okay. And an interesting thing I read about Lightnin is I mentioned he was the lead boy. He played with Blind Lemon, but he also led him around. When he was 8, 9, 10 years old. So apparently he could play all those Lemon tunes. Okay. And he could imitate Lemon to a T, but he never recorded any of it. This was all stuff he could do it. Other people heard him do it, but he never put it on recording. He always played Lightnin.
Right.
You know, but you can hear a little of Lemon in there.
Yeah,
you know.
One of the stories I remember about Lightnin Hopkins was he had pawned his guitar, and some college kids wanted to record him. So they went down, they got his guitar out of the pawn shop, and they recorded this, what turned out to be a record back then, but they recorded him on a reel-to-reel in a hotel room for like $50, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, he went the whole, from being, you know, wandering homeless basically in East Texas, all the way to Austin city limits. There, he was on there, all dressed up with a suit. But that's what
he played electric on that, didn't he?
Electric, yeah. He played something. He does what's called talking blues, and I don't know any talking blues. But basically, this is it. He tells a story.
Right.
And he's playing all the time like this while he's doing it. You know, and it's always about a poor Lightnin.
Poor Lightnin.
You know, my woman's gone, and you know, I don't have any more booze. Yep. You know, my guitar's in the pawn shop. But it's actually a form called talking blues.
Right.
And sometimes he'll just be on one chord, you know, and he does all those kind of things. He does it a lot when he plays electric, probably because nobody could play with him. If you watch him on Austin City Limits, he keeps staring at the bass player, because I think the bass player is changing and Lightnin doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't like where he's changing?
Right. So, which was a big thing. Like someone, I guess famous, was playing. This is Stefan Grossman's story. Stephen Grossman said someone was famous playing with Lightnin, or Ernie Hopkins might have said this. And they asked him, they were going to do a show, and they said, "Are you going to stay to the changes on these tunes? They're going to play some of Lightnin's tunes the way they were recorded." And Lightnin just said, "Lightnin changes when Lightnin wants to change." And he did, but he played. If we look at what he's doing, you know, he's got these boogies, or shuffles rather. He's got a certain way of doing them. He can put them into a. He does this a lot, but out of nowhere, and he'll just throw it in when he's coming down off of a, well, I don't know, an A chord, yeah. And he's singing something, and he's back to an A. And he might do that boogie on that too. So you have to be able to switch around from all of these.
One of my favorite
That's
things
what
that
takes to practice.
One of my favorite things that he did, my son used to play it, and it was Watch My Fingers.
Oh.
And I'd say to my son, can you show me how to play that? He said, "You'll never be able to get this." He's telling me.
Watch My Fingers.
Watch My Fingers. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great little instrumental tune. And he does talk, you know, in parts of it, you know.
Right.
So why don't we see if, well, I'll see if I can, I was showing you this before the show. And this is a key thing. If you're going to do Lightnin, you got to do his lick. And what it is, it's a measure of triplets. The first 3 beats are all the same. They're the D and B, or if we want to look at fingers, it's the first finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, the 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 4th fret. And we want to make triplets out of those. And we want, well, we'll put the bass in after, but we want to make a, that's the 4th triplet. It's just A, C sharp, E. There's a slide up.
And that's how we'll end out.
So that's what you have to get. Make it a 2-bar phrase like this. It's over.
It's over.
How did it get over?
We're going to need to continue this next week.
Yeah, we'll continue next week.